Hello, and welcome back to Workday DevCon, live from Las Vegas. I'm Athena Karp, the SVP of Product Marketing at Workday, and honored to be joined today by Jeroen van Hart, the CTO of TechWolf. Thank you so much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're going to be talking today about the future of skills and the power of TechWolf, Workday, and the developer community. So, without further ado, you hacked at DevCon last year. I'd love to hear more about what that experience was like, what you built, and more about this year.
Yeah, so last year it was our very first DevCon edition with the team, and we decided to build something that solved the problem that we saw in our own environment. So as a team, we work in sprints, so like every 2 weeks we decide what work to tackle, we plan it all out. But what we noticed was that sometimes we underestimated or overestimated certain skills that would be needed. So what we did was we built a tool called the Skill Sprint Optimizer. It's a bit of a mouthful. I think we could do a little bit of work on that.
You could do some product marketing on that.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later about it. But basically, this tool would then look at the sprint that was planned and compare that to the skills of the team. So basically, we analyze the skills on both sides and figured out any discrepancies. Or for example, there was one person with crucial skills that if that person went on holiday or would fall sick, that basically would ruin the sprint. And we've used that to then optimize the way of working and make sure that everyone had the right skills in place to be successful.
Amazing. What I love about what your company has done, what your team has done, is really figure out how you unlock the power of Workday, all the tools and technologies and capabilities that we continue to roll out to the community, whether that be for our clients, for our partners, or for the SI community itself. Would love to hear more about, how do you see that growing? Now you're back 1 year later. What's developed and what's your advice to others in maximizing the power of their innovation in Workday?
Yeah, I think we feel like there's a distinct difference in the velocity you can get on Workday now. Initiatives like Built on Workday, for example, they really allow you to ship things much faster and to also bring, I would say, that kind of product mindset to building on Workday, which I think has been super important for us. And now we're super excited to also see that expand into the agent space. So basically the agent gateway, for example, and the agent system of record. So plugging into these things, but really having this standard ability really to deliver your product and extend it into Workday, that's been super powerful for us.
Amazing. And at Workday, we're keenly focused on AI that delivers quantifiable business impact and ROI for our clients and solves important and big problems. I know you and your team are really focused on, the promise of skills, the recognition of the importance of skills for many of our clients has been there a long time, but the ability to actually get at the core and unlock that has been a challenge. Can you tell me more about the power of your innovation and your products, plus Workday, and some of the ways that you're truly unlocking skills for our customers?
Yeah, if you look at skills as a thing or as a topic, it's not rocket science from the first principles perspective. When people look at it and say, hey, I would love to be able to make decisions and recommendations based on the skills people actually have rather than a generic job title, everyone agrees that that's a great idea. But then when you've looked at the execution on that in the last years, a lot of companies have really struggled and often failed because it's just really hard. And what we do as the combination of TechWolf and Workday is we bring great data, which is the TechWolf side of the story, and then there's great experience through Skills Cloud on Workday. And what we do as TechWolf is really we connect to all of these data sources that are outside of Workday. So we connect to your learning system, we connect to your business systems like project management tools, if you're a developer, the code you write, the support tickets you tackle, the science you publish, and we use our AI to figure out all of these skills and bring that back into Workday so that basically when you open Workday and you look for a new opportunity or when you're looking at a job, the skill data that's there is just ready to be used and make an impact.
I'd love if you could maybe anchor us into a specific example of a client that's figured out how to actually unlock value and ROI with TechWolf and Workday.
Yeah, so typically the way a customer with TechWolf starts is first by looking at skill demand. So really what skills do we need in our jobs? And what's been really interesting there is that basically when you identify exactly the right skills you need, like those most important skills, and you start using those, the use case doesn't even have to be that complicated to get an impact. Like one of our customers, they got a 30% reduction in time to hire just by doing skills first hiring. So really zeroing in on those specific skills that were most important instead of like all of the qualifications that they used to look at before. And what it turns out to be as well is, well, those people, they tend to accept the offer more often, they have a better experience, and they tend to be more successful in their actual jobs. Now, if we move on from the skill demand side and add in the skill supply, so really the skills that your employees have available inside the company, then it gets even more exciting, because we've had customers, for example, who populated their data inside Workday, so with the skill data on both sides, and basically for jobs that they had been trying to fill for months, suddenly they were able to find over 200 candidates that could be potentially in those roles.
So truly unlocking, not just tapping into human potential, but really unlocking the funnel of talent that could be relevant for the role by rethinking the role of skills in hiring.
Yeah, and it's like having that data available like at every single time and having it be up to date at every time just means that when you encounter a new situation, like you don't have to wonder, should I start a months-long consulting project? Should I start this big change? Like you actually have the data there to inform how to act.
Amazing. So, I think one of the things we've seen is skills intelligence and skills more generally tends to sometimes be an HR agenda, sometimes a business agenda without connection to HR. But really, when you have the HR and the business working in tandem to unlock the power of skills, is where you see the true ROI. I'd love to hear some of your experiences, or maybe even an example of where your clients have been successful because they've been able to combine the business and HR and maybe even technology as well to unlock what's possible.
Yeah, I think like on a tactical level, often like the HR and business combination, it looks very similar to what we're used to in the HR world, but then it's really like that connection to like those business goals. Like for example, what we've seen with customers is that like a lot of them have been trying to staff up their Gen AI divisions and teams. Like customers who came with us later, like they told us about their experiences, like how they struggled to find the right people, that they had to go out to market, only to realize months later that they actually had the right people in there. What we see with TechWolf is that having that data available means that when you pull the trigger, when you say like we're going to go for this and build out this team, that you can find those people instantly. And the difference there, like it's months between like the case with and without that data available, and the business impact is just much bigger than like the typical statistics around time to hire, etc. Because then you're moving the needle on a top priority for the company.
Yeah. And I imagine one of the things that we all assume is that the rate of change and the speed of needing to detect who knows what is just going to increase, right? So anything you're seeing, even over the last year, of how that rate of change has changed?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really interesting because well, on one hand, we see people adopting skills faster, but we're also seeing that the skills required for jobs are changing much faster. And there's a lot of companies out there that have their job architecture that, well, theoretically defines what skills they need or what work is being done. But a lot of them are scrambling right now to just redefine how they determine the work and how they're going to evolve that over time. So things are definitely changing much faster now.
It almost becomes impossible to do some of the things that HR and the business will be asked without that core of skills at the heart and that powerful, accurate infrastructure and data set.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like in the sort of old world, when the jobs weren't really changing that much, like you could still do things in this traditional way, but now you need to go that layer deeper to understand what's really happening in there. Because if you look at the jobs that we have, basically, well, some of the tasks that are in there, they will get automated. Some of them will become a lot easier and require fewer skills to tackle. Then others will become way more important still. And that all has an impact on the skills that are required and the ideal profile. And like we even have a case internally inside TechWolf where like we analyzed all the work that our professional services team was doing, and we identified like those top tasks that were basically ripe for automation. And that really helped shift our team to be more strategic, but it also meant that like their people-focused skills became even more important, whereas their technical skills became less important. And it's made it easier for us to attract the right people in the market.
It's amazing. One of the things we're talking a lot about is, we're in this shift from just humans doing work to human-machine collaboration doing work. At the core, in the center, you have the human that needs to learn how to collaborate effectively with whatever that technology, AI or not, that you bring to light. And so I imagine you're seeing a lot more demand for how do we get people ready as ready continues to evolve and that treadmill of change just speeds up.
Yeah, and like a lot of companies are really like struggling to even get this high level picture. And I think like when you look inside even a small company like ours, like you see the profile shifting so much. Like if I look at my developers today versus just a year or two ago, like the importance of their communication skills has increased so much because when we work with these agents, essentially like communication and like being clear, being able to delegate, like all of these things that I think a little while ago we assumed would be like the the skills that might be less important, like now they're even more important because actually, with AI we're collaborating even more today.
This uniquely human skills become paramount for the success of the human-machine collaboration and really the future of work.
Absolutely.
Amazing. So I think, to end with, what I'd love to hear is what's the most ambitious use cases, whether in incubation and pilot or that you're starting to work through with clients and skills?
Yeah, so we have a couple. Like one is like really on the data side. So like as TechWolf, we can really connect to a broad variety of data, but we have some customers who go extra deep. Like for example, we have a pharmaceuticals company. They really feed in like all of the research that is being published by their scientists, so that we can infer those very specific skills. They're like really people working in immunology, etc. Because then like all of a sudden when you're thinking about optimizing that research pipeline, you have data available to really start optimizing that and get those people on the right project. So that's making a huge impact in terms of timelines. But you can also take it into systems like Workday, and like we're also working together as an innovation partner to bring new functionalities to the Workday platform. And something I've really been excited about is that basically the Workday platform, like everything is so interconnected. So like you not only can take like the high level perspective and say like, hey, we want to become this type of organization. Like we want to put a man on the moon, so to say, and figure out what that means for the jobs you have, for the skills that you require, connect that to like the entire population you have within the company, find the gaps, and then go all the way to building a flex team, for example, to stuff like those jobs that have been created. And I think that's something that we're exploring with the Workday and Workday team, and soon also with some other customers, and that I've been super excited about.
Yeah, I mean, being implemented internally at Workday and also then connected across our partnership, through our partnerships across our client base and our prospects. So, one of the things I think we all think a lot about is we will need HR to fire on all cylinders. Mm-hmm. Not just how do we get people ready, it's not a one-time exercise, but what does reskilling, project exposure, mentorships, readiness mean, and how do you detect that gap across the company? So I love the use cases you provided, extremely exciting work. I'm so excited to have you here with us today. Thank you so much for joining, and keep up the tremendous innovation and partnership. Thank you so much, Jeroen.
Thank you.